You are now tuning in to Discover Your Potential. So listen, participate, be inspired. Know that you can discover your potential.
Welcome to the show. I don't normally sit in studio with someone else, and today I've got my friend Sheryl Lynn.
Thank you for asking me to be here today,
It's
Anna.
so fun. And what's fun is that it's a brand new year. This is our first episode of 2026. And last year, I was feeling like I needed a transformation. And then I saw that it was the Chinese New Year, was the year of the fire horse. And I didn't feel like a girl on fire. So I'm going to introduce you and your lovely program that you and your daughter, Bailey Ramatuski, developed Joy Intelligence. And the company's called JOYELY. And I know this will sound really cliche, but I feel like I'm living joyily ever after. Is that a thing?
It is. You know why? Because happily ever after is not available to us. We were sold a bill of goods when we were kids, reading those little kings and queens. But
Fairy tales.
Fairy tales.
Yeah.
You all must live happily ever after. And I don't know about you, but that's what I strived for most of my life.
I really want to go back to the moment that we met.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us there. And welcome to this show, because you've become a significant person in my life. This is new for me. Discover Your Potential has always just been a show about great people, but now I feel like we're doing something.
I'm discovering your potential.
Yes. You want to be. Well, we're going to break it down. So I want to get this right. You've discovered something called Joy Intelligence, and we're going to talk about your program, but you're sitting in the chair of joy. That's an experience. I gotta paint this picture. Okay.
Let's do it.
So when I met you, someone recommended me, a friend, and I really trusted her.
Good. Laura is amazing.
Laura is amazing. And she said, you got to call Sheryl. She wants to put people on stage. That's where we came to know each other. And it was right around Thanksgiving, which is right around me planning a dinner for 25 people. And I got a teenager and I got older parents and everybody. I'm the king person for the meal. And then I call you in the car, like a million things on my mind. And you said to me,
come over for Thanksgiving.
No. You weren't inviting me in. I wanted to. Now that you did?
Yeah.
Now that I know you, that would be so funny. You wanted to invite me into a conversation, and it was really just a crazy moment in the car. And you said, tell me anything you want about yourself. Do you remember what I said? Because you talked to a million people. I started talking to you instantly about miracles, about adopting my kid, about synchronicity. You're the most active listener on the planet. You're the most present person who doesn't know me from anybody. You do the thing that I do for other people, but I had it kind of put back on me. You realize that?
I think I felt it for me before I knew it. I sort of sensed that there was an ability for you to be really good and intuitive, but also that you didn't have that person. And so I didn't know what it was, except that I wanted to hear the stories and I wanted to understand, like knowing all of our voices for the stage is really important to me. So I think from there we booked a meeting, an hour meeting, and we couldn't leave. Right. And
and
so much fun.
So much fun. That was in the in-person meeting. Oh, that was wild.
Yes.
I have to say, okay, so we're going to explain some of what Joy Intelligence is, but we met for the first time in a casino bar. And I didn't know you. And then when you walked in, it was like, wow, like very grounded, present, unexpected in a way. I don't mean to sound funny about that, but you came in and I just thought, I'm meeting something special. I'm meeting something that I wasn't expecting to meet.
Thank you.
And I think I felt a little hot mess, but I could also feel significant. And I just remember you letting me talk for about 5 minutes straight, which is normal for me. This is my show and this is what I do. And then I said to you, I'm all over the place. And you said, you're right here. And then
we're right here. We locked eyes.
I know.
Well, there's nowhere to go. Nobody cares that we're here. There's nothing to do.
Right. And then
Just us.
You asked me, does anybody ever listen to you? And I started to cry. And I think, wow, I'm a
Like
podcast.
really listen is what I asked. Does
Yeah.
someone ever really hear you?
That was wild. And then I knew, okay, I got to focus. What is she actually bringing? Because this is so good. So I'm going to throw a word out here because I walked out of there feeling like I had been activated. And I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people. I think when you talk about emotional intelligence, a word that comes up for most people is triggered, but I felt activated. So can you describe a little bit about the chair of joy? We were doing the chair of joy in a casino with people walking around, and I'm sure I was just like, where? I went somewhere. Can you talk about just a really simple version of what a chair of joy does?
Can. And the reason I can is because I've spent 6 years getting it as simple, as easy to understand for everyone in every age group from anywhere on the planet. So there are 4 steps: sit, breathe, think, feel. And the genius of that is those 4 steps and knowing that it's repeatable and duplicatable. And it's also very grounded in neuroscience. And so we are basically giving people something to do when someone says, go take a breath or relax, just relax.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, I don't know how to relax. I don't even, I want to beat somebody up. How can I relax? And so the chair of joy methodology is born out of the fact that I think 1 out of 4 people even meditate, and those that do meditate think they're doing it wrong. So if we're doing it wrong and it works, what can we do to help move us into doing it better, or at least giving ourselves the gift of learning how to stop and hear and be still and listen and develop new perspective and process and navigate through our emotions. So that's sort of the essence of it. And there's experience, 30,000 people I brought through the experience so far, and we're just warming up. So,
and I want you to kind of talk a little bit about, I mean, if you will, about what is the basis, that emotional baseline that you teach people to tap into.
I think first off, we just back up, like, what is JQ, right? That's the whole idea of what this is about, is developing joy intelligence. And so people are like, what is that? So first of all, I don't think we label people, but we all have it. So we are familiar with IQ, right? We measure, we have to know where our IQ is. We move into emotional intelligence, which is understanding and knowing what emotions are, but not really navigating and processing emotions. So joy intelligence is that. It's our ability to not only know that all emotions are in our body and moving through our body every day, all day long, but when we get stuck on one or something wants to stay longer than we want it to, we can instantly snap into a chair of joy and navigate through it, process through it, and feel it in our body so we don't have to stay stuck in it all day long.
I think that I identified really quickly with something you framed up as toxic positivity.
Yes.
Which is why you were saying that happiness is a fairy tale that doesn't exist.
Yes.
Can you talk a little about the difference between happiness and joy?
I can. Let me just back up a little bit. First, the concept of the 7-day experience is based on safety, the balance theory: safety, presence, and joy, right? So when you came into the call, you felt safe, right?
Yeah.
And then the more you felt safe, which, by the way, I do this at 7:30 in the morning most of the times, and I'm absolutely surprised how like 15, 20 people show up on a regular basis. We have a limit at 15, but most of the time it's full and it becomes the energy just becomes so natural and easy, and people feel safe and present, obviously. And when you're safe, you're present, you obviously can access your joy. So now the difference between safety and joy, happy and joy. What do you think? What's your first instinct? Or have you learned this a long way over now? So, but maybe how it was prior to this.
I feel like I just put a mask on and said, Anna, the people pleaser, can show up pretty good. And I think the thing that I realized after tapping into emotions, I feel emotions here in my belly. And sometimes they're other people's emotions. So even if this is happy, this is where I really am suffering, because there's no awareness of what I'm really feeling. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a snake bite. And you're thinking, what's under there? I have no idea. And I think some people feel really nervous about that, but the safety is the differentiator. And I felt it in a casino. I'm closing my eyes, but you're really good. Yeah.
Yes.
And then joy can be under every emotion. I'm a person that likes to sit with sadness and not hide from it. I write songs about how I feel, and sometimes just sitting with it feels really good. But can you talk about how when we don't judge emotions and we can move through these different emotions, you have 4 neighborhoods. Can you
Yes.
talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love the neighborhood so much.
Yeah.
So Bailey and I created the Joy Intelligence Emotions Map. And on the emotions map, we basically ripped down all other emotional models
Mhm.
and developed a new one. So what we learned in our relationship, my daughter and I, was that we have trauma, right? And that we are combative and we didn't know how to communicate and we were angry all the time. And it's like, why? And what do we do with our emotions? So Bailey being a data analyst, we just ripped apart all the emotions, and I won't go into the detail of all of that, but bottom line is we came back with a circle, right? A circle with 80 emotions on, and the permission granted, the feeling of, as you said, how do we have 80 emotions every day, all day long, makes sense to us.
Mhm.
And so we had to unlearn what we've learned, Bailey and I. It's like, okay, emotions aren't good or bad or right or wrong. They're not on the, guilt, shame, and worries and a fear are not on the bottom
Mhm.
or are on the bottom, but that makes us feel bad, right? And so when we get to the top of love, joy, and peace, it's like, oh, yeah, I made it to the top, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna fall back down. And so
Right.
it's constantly cyclical, and you never get that sense of peace.
Yeah.
So the emotions map and Joy Intelligence is saying, please feel all 80 emotions. And I don't want to say necessarily get excited when you get angry or when you're in a sad state, but I think there's a really strong awareness in Joy Intelligence, which is not toxic positivity. It's not performance. It's just accessing that joy, which is based on safety and presence, accessing the joy that's underneath all 80 emotions. Look at this beautiful yellow shirt, right? The idea is that joy is not a emotion. Joy is a state of being, right? We always have access to it. So joy is in suffering. Joy is in that sadness. Joy is in that worry, in that fear, in the doubt. When you're at work and you're feeling doubt, there's joy, even though there's doubt, even though you're in financial stress and worry, maybe sometimes, or you still know at the core of your human heart that this is your passion and this is what you love. Right. And so I get really excited. I could go on and on, but at the end of the day, if people could understand that when you're in a moment of overwhelm or stress, it's an opportunity to realize that you can use your joy intelligence and get through it really fast so you can get to the other side. And I didn't answer your question.
No.
About the emotional neighborhoods.
No.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there because there's so much to unpack.
Yes.
And when I played with this, but by
Yes.
the time I realized I could reset, I told everybody I'm a person that writes. And I write commercials. I get up in the morning. Remember I told you I'm tuning in to listen to the sound of the morning stars, which means this is my cocoon place. I'm safe. And then the day starts and I'm ripped out of that little cocoon. And I was suffering so much because I thought, I just want to get back to home and get in bed and then do it all over so I can have that first hour of the day. And then I noticed with Chairs of Joy in the cohort, I'm like, oh, I can do this all day if I want to.
That was actually really cool that you said that because I'd never heard it quite like that before.
Oh my gosh.
Let me take you on it. So now that you do the Chair of Joy for other people, you're taking people on you always say a mini vacation.
I did that in the hospital for a nurse who said, I am living for the next vacation. I'm like, well, where did you go? Kyoto, Japan. Well, show me. And she had 50 pictures of one spot in a park in front of a temple. And I said, and she wanted to keep strolling. I said, put your phone down and sit with me and close your eyes. And let's start with sit. Yeah, I know where your Chair of Joy is. And it's in your body. It's not in your phone. And by the way, you brought it back with you. So she knows what that feels like. So that's her Chair of Joy.
I can imagine that was news to her.
Oh, she was shocked because she was already she's being quiet because she doesn't want to tell her boss over there.
Yeah,
I'm going back and I'm going to go in March. And I was like, let's go there right now.
But your point is if we could just focus on that a minute.
Yeah.
The fact that when we say, where's your Chair of Joy? Because this is a Chair of Joy.
Right.
And I've taken it all over the country.
I go a lot.
But in my van, many, many times. But the gift is what you just did with that woman.
Yeah.
Where she was describing it, you could sense that was her Chair of Joy.
Yeah.
And normally you forget about it and you move on, but you anchored her to it. So go on. That
was really exciting.
Yeah.
So I've been doing this for my mom, daughter, for people around. Like once I knew that I could help people stop and feel safe and stop and do something they wanted to do. Yeah. That's such a major shift. And that's the simplicity of it. So then it was just breathing in that space. And when you breathe, you sort of anchor it. You know, you're getting really self-regulated. You have a word for that. I don't know what.
Brain heart coherence.
Okay, I
Yes.
feel that.
Yes.
But you know, I love brain heart coherence and I've heard of it, but literally the little stirring part of me that is like a cauldron was like, I'm going deeper into my breath and holding it at the top, like 4-part breathing. And that's not even the point. You don't have to do this perfectly. It's that you can literally sink in deeper and deeper into a state of recognizing, not masking. And then it's just thinking about what that means to you. You're actually producing transcendental meditation in like 60 seconds, where your thoughts are now just kind of, you're just sort of watching them. That woman was watching thoughts just drift by because she's in Kyoto, Japan. And none of this is out here really bugging her. She can think whatever she wants, but the point is you breathe it, you think it, and then you just go ahead and feel it. And then you push it through your body, just wiggling your toes.
We need to show them how it works, can we?
Yeah, you want to take me through it?
10 seconds.
Okay, go.
The idea here, before we do, the idea here is when she's describing this woman in the chair at the hospital, she was able to close her eyes while she was having her peers walk around.
Right.
Right. But she didn't care because she was so excited about it.
Yeah.
So she did the 4 steps, sit, breathe, think, feel, and stood up going, now I know I can go in that mini vacation mentally in my mind.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
You have a professional deck of cards.
Yes.
And all 80 emotions. And then your daughter Bailey has these amazing questions.
Yes.
So there is literally that exercise, and the top line is the emotion. So how I use it is I just kind of look through them. I'm like, and you've got the chart, the emotions chart, so you can kind of see which neighborhood you're in. You want to talk about the neighborhoods?
Yeah, we can talk about the neighborhoods. So I'm a very right-brained, and that little thing that she made, the emotions map, works for a lot of people, especially in a professional setting. You know, the stages are in active awareness, reflection, and expansion. People move through them all day long, and it's easy to speak to. But for me, I love to kind of reframe those into emotional neighborhoods. So there's the dark, sort of dreary feeling. There's the busy neighborhood, like think of a downtown of a very large city. And then there's the kind of the common area in a park and a bench. And then there's the top of the mountain. So the idea is in those emotional neighborhoods are all 80 emotions. I'm victimized. I'm depressed. I'm proud. I'm motivated. I'm reflection. I'm reflective. I'm resilience and expansion. I'm in awe and I'm genius. And then guess what? You start all over and you go round and round and round all day long. So when I see that picture and it's sitting on my desk, I get excited because it's like, oh, somebody just criticized me right now. I'm in the, dark, dreary area, and this is what I call it. But you know what? I immediately sit, breathe, think, feel, and I jump over to, a different one, depending on how deep or seated it is or how angry I felt. But there's no like right or wrong in that. You just get to move. And I think that's the most important part to hear.
I think the most important thing I learned about myself is I love Mistwood.
Exactly.
Okay, so I love Mistwood because I taught kids this now, teenagers. And I said, depression is not something you should bum yourself out with. Depression is like the place you go. Well, let's just take sad. It's a place you go and feel because you just want the world to be gone. And so sadness can be so beautiful. I used to play mandolin and I used to play it on the back porch when it would rain. And it was and when I think Mistwood, I think I'm in this perfect little bubble. Nothing has to happen. There's no anxiety here. And if I need to call that sadness, well, the world can just be gone.
Just hang out. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Or there's no hurry. Like if I need 6 days or 6 weeks or, the idea is taking accountability for it. So when we get into our programs or we take them out to organizations and things like that, it's really a lived experience. Like every single person goes through it in a different way at a different speed.
Yeah.
And I know somebody who went through this and literally she just said like for example, like I can turn it on to now all of a sudden I can make better decisions and clear. Somebody else has never felt something for decades.
Right.
50 decades.
I know, my mom.
And so how this person particularly, she just calls me up almost laughing, crying because she's like, why can't I stop crying? I'm having such a good day and I cannot stop crying. And so for the first time, she's letting it all bubble up. And so we are not therapy. Although we are moving into the therapy world with our
Mhm.
emotional recognition baseline system for Neuros Clinic in California. But the idea is that everyone is going to experience joy intelligence framework a little bit different. And you should make sure that you have the support around you when you're doing it.
I love that because I've met some incredible coaches, very specific cognitive behavioral therapists and practitioners in the mental health scheme. And they love this because sometimes just having a patient identify an emotion is a huge leap. And that's where you can actually start to build your therapy
Can I
around.
tell you the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me? May I?
Yes, please.
Well, there's two things actually. Now that I think about it, there's been so many lately. But the big one is when one of our therapists, Cindy, who's been kind of moving around with JOYELY for the last 3 years, I think. She said to me the other day, Sheryl, I'm putting a mural of the emotions now on my wall in my new office. And so that means that when somebody walks in that room, you're not saying, how are you doing? And your typical response is to your therapist,
I'm fine.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
What do you
good.
want to talk about today? No offense to therapy, right? There's
Yeah.
so much good,
Yeah.
right? And at the same time, there isn't really a strong language back and forth. And so when this person walks in to the room, they're literally touching the neighborhood on the wall.
Oh my God.
I feel very dark Seattle right now, or I feel busy and overwhelmed. And you can just physically see them get into where they are and who they are.
Mhm.
It's powerful.
It's powerful.
So powerful.
I will share because I'm vulnerable and I love to carry the vulnerable card around me.
Mhm.
That I have felt like a girl with armor on, and that most of my professional life has been in fight or flight and stealing myself. So no breath, dropping down into my belly and absolutely forcing every, day, just like slogging through.
Yeah.
And that carrying the vulnerable card with me and then sitting in a chair of joy at work, the door closed, going, there's strength in letting go. There's strength in not taking on someone's energy. And there's strength in understanding what your own energy is and where the other person.
So let me just ask you, when you're holding the card, it's just giving you permission that this is okay? Or is it that you read the questions because you need to be reminded?
This is what's
Or both?
Well, it's fun because I know I can take the same card and do it different every day. So I will tell you that, yeah, now that I've worked through it a couple of times, right? Probably more than a couple of times, I can just see it and feel what it does to me.
Wow.
And I'll tell you another thing.
That's a new neural pathway, right?
It's a new neural
Yes.
pathway,
Yes.
but it took, like being in the fire and going, I'm literally going to close the door now and remember who I am. I got it locked and loaded. I got it. And now if I see the color yellow, I just click into it. I go, permission granted to have yellow in my awareness. I went and bought all these snacks for the office, all this yellow and orange food. Anyway, that's wild. But yes, new neural pathways. I'm so excited that the world is embracing what you're doing and understanding it because I've had a lot of trauma and I've had a lot of therapy. I went to massage and body school. I did cranial sacral training, not to be a practitioner, just to literally know what tools are available. I invested so much time and money. And I've never had a quick experience of, I'm in charge. This is for me.
Yeah.
And now I'm coaching because I'm activating other people. Yeah. And it happened so fast. I took a colleague, I took her right out of a networking meeting where I saw her going anger. Took her to the car. This is my favorite activation story. And I said, ready? Let's sit at the top of the mountain. Yeah. And I thought she's either going to blow like Krakatoa or she's going to feel powerful and no tears, nothing. She just started laughing like, I am done with that story. But that was because she could grab the emotion and say, yeah, I'm angry. I'm really angry. I'm really angry. And this is fun.
After all these years, I think the statistic that we have measured is about 92% of people that can immediately go back and start to see results. Yeah. Even if they only hear the difference between happy and joy, all of a sudden they go, okay, joy is under all the emotions. So what does that mean when I'm angry? Right? Like even if that question mark comes out in people's hearts, right? It sets their day up completely different.
Right. Right. That was my biggest roadblock, was that I was confused as to why I didn't feel good, even though I could try to be more positive. The answer is I've got 80 emotions, and happiness is not even the most exciting thing to me.
It's just one of them. It comes and goes, just like fear. Happy, like I'm happy because I ate an ice cream cone, right? And the ice cream cone is gone. I'm not happy anymore, right? So it's when we started out talking about seeking happily ever after, like that's the ultimate destination. So joyily, I came up with the word because joyily ever after seems like attainable, right? Like joyily means I can feel all the 80 emotions. And if I can't feel all 80 emotions or many emotions, 12, let's say a day, I feel like I'm not living the human experience, right? And so joyily gives people the opportunity to live many emotions and not be afraid of them anymore.
Yeah.
Like I feel guilty because I eat chocolate like almost every day.
What? I don't feel good about it.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
there's this level of I just need to beat myself up. You judge me, or somebody else will if I don't, right? And it's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
Yes.
Think about how most people are kind of the walking wounded if they're not really in touch, if they're struggling and muscling through. I've given a lot of work examples. I know your daughter came from corporate, and she's one of my favorite people, so I really identify with this. But how many people at work are just struggling to meet somebody where they are and not taking accountability? So you feel everybody's like masking emotion. You're supposed to be emotional at work.
Yes.
You're a woman. Don't be emotional at work.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And then to really understand that accountability, and then moving into a different neighborhood where you're getting more acceptance, or you're getting getting to that expansion is not the goal. If you can't get it, you can't get it. But you know what happened to me the other day? I had 2 incredible conversations back to back, and that expanded feeling came through. And then I had to go do some stuff, and I had some responsibilities, and it was very unfun. But I recognized the difference, and I went, you know, when I'm out of this one, I'm going back to that feeling. I'm going to just grab it. It's a choice, and that's the biggest part. I think that's what's under the success of cognitive behavioral therapy. You're choosing. But this is so exciting.
That video that you made that went viral, I had never spoke it quite like you did, which is that the clarity is the feeling drives the clarity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'll talk about that, because what I do know, because I've interviewed lots and lots of incredibly, talented people, a lot of people in personal development, is that our energy comes off of us like we're a beacon broadcasting, and it bounces and comes back to us under the law of vibration, right? A law like gravity is just working for you. But if you're not clear about what that is, you're broadcasting something you really don't know, that your wants and desires are masked by this, you're feeling.
Correct.
And if you can sit and get present and realize, well, that's actually the energy I'm broadcasting. It's like Esther Hicks, and she talks about staying on the high flying disc. Everybody falls off like 5 minutes after they wake up. This is an actual thing you can do to understand what you're broadcasting. Don't like your results? Do something different. Don't need to be fully powerful pulling things in today. Sit with that. Enjoy doing nothing.
Yes.
Doing nothing is productive.
Yes. And you know what? We have a lot of men in boardrooms that love this because they finally have a logistical, tactical way to speak to emotions. So so it's not mistwood. I feel inactive. And maybe something very traumatic happened to them the evening before, and they can't do the meeting. They're just not present enough to do it. And so, so I think this serves so many people. So the big story for Bailey and I was, we were laughing just this morning about how we can sit across from each other and tell stories and laugh and, get excited about each other's lives. And there's no slamming doors and all the things. So more than anything, that's the bottom line of what we did, was create something that worked for the two of us. And then just yesterday, I was in a room of one of our, the mayor was there, the judge was down there that was just retained again. And we were celebrating her here in Las Vegas. And there was a woman standing next to me, and I said, "How you doing?" And she said, "Do I have time for the story?"
Yeah, keep going.
I said, "How do you do it?" And I could see her eyes were puffy a little bit. I know her a little bit. And she's like, "Honestly," she said, "me and my mom had just a fallout brawl, and It was all about business, and it was that I was not doing enough and all the things. And
Yeah.
she's like, what? I don't know what to do about it. So I put my arm around her, right? And I'm next this room of people. And I said, this is what you're going to do. Are you listening to me? This is what you're going to do. Are you ready to shift through this? And she's looking at me like, whoa, okay. And so I go, took her hand out, sit, breathe, think, feel. All right, tomorrow when your mom's going off, you're going to look at your mom very quietly. And I think her chair of joy was in Laguna Beach. You're going to sit down while she's talking at you, and you're going to sit on your chair of joy. You're going to imagine, take a deep breath. Your mom's talking, and you're going to think about your mom and how much you love her at one particular moment of time. And you're only going to see that part of your mom, and you're going to feel that love in your body. She texted me at least 5 times this morning. Cheryl, it works.
Oh my God.
I am stoic. She stopped talking. And left the room. What is going on? This like on and on and on. Like I can't even tell you how she's just blown away that she kept coming at her and at her and at her. And so it was so much fun to just see how quick somebody can take this on and how easy it was.
I talked to my mom. I want to give a mom story really quick
Yes.
because my mom, we have generational trauma around alcoholism, and both her parents drank, and we love them. They're passed. And when I told my mom, this program gives you some basis and safety. And this is my chair of joy. This is how I feel safe. I crawl into my bed and I imagine the cats are there and the blankets are soft. So just describing that, do you know that my mom went home and thought about her parents and a memory of being safe with them? She used to crawl into bed in the morning with them. She went back to being a baby. And that's how far back she had to go. And that just made her say, I love my parents. They're terrific people. She came all the way back to a sense of safety. So she walked herself through her own chair of joy just by me telling her it was possible and how it feels. So we are going to talk about an event coming up. This is coming to cities everywhere, but we get to do this coming up in Las Vegas, and I'm going to be one of 60. Can you talk a little bit about how that is going to roll, or why did you do it like that? You invited me to come on stage to share 60 seconds of wisdom. You invited 59 others. So this event is meaningful because I didn't know I was going to go through this program and land. That's how we're rolling it out.
The really cool part about JQ 60 Voices coming soon to a city near you is that even the voices, so these are Las Vegas, Nevada voices, and even the people that are coming up there on stage do not understand the power and the wisdom that they have. So even learning the process of what this is about, people are starting to go, so you mean if I do a chair of joy and I get clear about what I want and what I'm about, it gets me more of what I want in life. And so to have people go from a 15-minute speech to an 8-minute speech to a 1-minute speech, and then not a 1-minute elevator pitch that, hey, what do you do? Blah, 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 blah. No, this is different. This is 60 seconds of raw, real, not necessarily always wisdom, but a story or something that inspires everyone in the audience to go, all right, if I could just stop and do these things, maybe I can get to the next thing quicker. And at the end of the day, it literally just means sitting stillness long enough to hear what those messages are. Even God, spirit, universe, we're so much into accomplishment that we can never get to the listening part. We can't hear our next step or perspective. And so basically the JQ Voices is an opportunity to shine as a speaker, obviously, right? But also to learn along the way. Like, what does it mean to know that I have joy intelligence and that I can turn it on and up when I want to and when I need to? Like in some of the situations you were just talking about.
Yeah, I was writing a book about seeing like a storyteller, and I stopped and I started all over again. Oh, like that. I'm so much wiser.
Yes.
And I'm not forcing messages on people. I'm just sharing the perspective of living from a point of joy intelligence. That's huge.
And I'm in the same place you are. Like joy intelligence just erupted last, a year ago this summer, almost a year ago last summer. And we're all in the learning of it, or unlearning what we've learned and starting over again. So I literally laid down in Aspen last summer and cried for 3 months because I was like, all these years I've been doing it all this way, and it's tiring, right? And so
Yeah.
the last thing we want to do is raise up another generation in a cycle of dysfunction. Like, it's over. We are getting these kids. My dream is that everywhere, but did I say everywhere? Everywhere, everyone has a chair of joy, whether it's in their mind's eye or in the living room. And that we have a huge manufacturing plant, and we're curating little baby chairs of joy so that babies in hospitals everywhere go home with a chair of joy, so they don't have to live a life of mental health, right, problems and situations that are going to get them in trouble and go down lanes of suicide and mass shootings and, God forbid, what all the other things. But it's time to shift the conversation and move into something different, because obviously what we're doing is not working.
And I want to say that the gift of listening to a friend is something you can do right now, even if you don't know what the chair of joy is.
Yes.
I'll give all of the notes and all of the links to this, but I just want to say that if you just listen to yourself as a trusted friend for 60 seconds a day, I didn't even have the deck of cards when I started, and now it's one of my favorite practices. But if you told me and I told Faith and she told someone and we roll it out like that, it's a movement.
Yes.
And it feels really good. And I can't wait to see who joins. And this has never happened to me on Discover Your Potential. But listen, please like and subscribe. We have a lot of wonderful announcements to make this year. A lot of momentum. So congratulations. I love you. I'm proud of this.
This is an out-of-body experience, Anna. This is literally finding Anna and discovering your potential and seeing and hearing all of you. There is so much safety, presence, and joy in this conversation. Did you feel it?
I did.
And I'm sure that this vibration, this energy will go out to so many people that are ready to hear this. And we invite every one of you. You all have your own joy intelligence. And please, me and Anna want to meet you.
That's why I love a road trip. That's what I meant is my perfect road trip.
Okay.
So yeah, I meet so many people in the cohort. They're like, "You're my new best friend." I'm like, "Okay, but there's a lot of you. You might have to get on the Chair of Joy podcast next, because that's gonna be a thing." So you were that. Okay. Lots of things to unpack, but this was a wonderful moment.
Yeah, I can't wait to do this again.
And we will.
Okay.
Like and subscribe and come back, because it's only getting started. And I'm really proud that this is how I'm starting 2026. And you can too. Just check out the links in the show notes, follow, like, and subscribe, and check this one out. You want to run, not walk to every event that she's going to be in personally.
And which podcast host wears your sweatshirt? I mean, come on.
Never happened with that. They're like, "Did you change your brand?" It's yellow now. That's okay. Purple can step aside
for a minute.
I love you.
I love you too.
Okay, well, see you soon.
See you soon.
Be well and do great things.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Discover Your Potential. We hope you found today's conversation inspiring. Be sure to subscribe and follow us for more empowering stories and expert advice. And remember, the power to discover your potential lies within you.
Do something nice for yourself, but do something nice for someone else.